Well, thank you very much. Great to be here again. I'm going to have to pick up the handheld mic, because surely I'm going to be moving about here. Good morning. Are you happy?
Yes!
That's better than coffee right there. Let's put that on, Happy. I feel like I think because I have been, that I've been here in this building all weekend, because I started off here Friday evening, right in here with the practitioners, and then first thing Saturday morning, I was with the chairs of the various committees, and then with the finance committee, and then spent the afternoon with the board, and now I'm back here today. So here we go. I think I know where I am. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be giving a talk here now, right? Okay, I think I know where I am. So, yes, wow. This topic, conditions aren't real. And the problem with conditions, do you know what the problem with conditions is? The problem with conditions is sometimes they seem like they really are quite real, especially if they've been around for a long time, right? It seems like they just hang around. I remember one of my first experiences with the Science of Mind teaching is when I first came in, and I kind of dove into this teaching. I say, don't try this at home, all right? What I did, don't try this at home, okay? Don't do this yourself. But I kind of like dove right in immediately. I took the foundation class, and I just like quit my job, and I was like, all right, God is my source, let's go. And then I found out I didn't quite understand the teaching so well yet. But I was working it. And one of the things I discovered about the teaching in working it and doing affirmations and doing spiritual mind treatment, I came up with this affirmation: I am rich and prosperous. And I found that if I could get into the vibration of that affirmation, if I could get into the feeling of it, if I could be like almost like an actor, right, coming into character. I'm coming like, because my bank account and my checking account and my, if you looked at everything in front of me, the condition, if you will, the condition seemed very real. The condition did not say, I am rich and prosperous. But I felt like, well, let me get into character here. Let me become this character, this being, this person who is rich and prosperous. And so I'd be walking along just all day long. I am rich and prosperous. Whenever I would be in that place where I was caught up in the condition, whenever the condition seemed like it was really real, I would just go into that affirmation: I am rich and prosperous. I am rich and prosperous. And sometimes I got to tell you, when I first started saying it, it seemed like ridiculousness, basically. But I would start to get into that character, and I would start to feel it. I would start to feel rich and prosperous. I would start to feel that vibration. So the atmosphere around me, my whole atmosphere, my whole being started to be one of a vibration of wealth and prosperity. And this was a while ago. This was a long time ago. So this was before like voicemail. This was like answering machine days. And so I would get home and check my answering machine. And whenever I would get into that vibration, and my whole atmosphere became one of prosperity, there would be a message on the answering machine almost all the time, when I could get myself in that place, in that vibration, in that atmosphere, and I would pick up the message on my answering machine, and sure enough, there would be some offer of a consulting gig or something that was going to be beneficial to me from a financial point of view, and that was going to take me in that direction of being rich and prosperous. So this idea that conditions aren't real comes from, in our teaching, we say, Ernest Holmes says that we don't treat conditions, we treat causes. And treat is another word for us for prayer, because our form of prayer is called spiritual mind treatment, or it also could be called affirmative prayer, where essentially rather than saying, God, please, please give me this, we recognize that all has already been given, and that mine is to accept it. Mine is to accept the gift. Mine is to say yes to what has already been given to me. And so when we treat our minds. We get our mind and our heart and our being aligned with the truth that already is. So the truth that conditions aren't real, when they seem sometimes so real, is one where we, in practicing these principles, we begin to treat the cause. We begin to look at what is, we don't even have to say what is the cause of the condition even. What we can say is we can say, what would cause the condition that I would like to be experiencing right now? What would bring about the experience that I would like to be having right now? And what is the cause that I'm talking about here? What is the cause? The cause that I'm talking about here is the alignment, the inner alignment, what we call sometimes a mental equivalent. Like, what would be the mental equivalent? Like, how would I need to be thinking? How would I need to be looking at life? How would I need to be being and vibing and living, like my whole being, that atmosphere that I talked about a little while ago? What would my atmosphere have to be? My mental and emotional and just the whole way that I carry myself and be. What would that have to be in order to create the experience that I want to have? Is it that I need to align more with the vibration of love? Is it that I need to align more with the vibration of worthiness and deservability? Is it that I need to align more with peace and harmony? And we use our intuitive faculty to know what that is. So we go within ourselves and we begin to look in our interior and ask ourselves, what is it that is blocking? What is it that is not allowing me to accept all this good and all this bounty of good that is awaiting me, that wants to be in my life? And what would it be like for me to step into accepting the bounty of good? That's the cause. We call it first cause. The rest is all conditions and all that, and we can work at that level. How many of you ever have worked at the level of, there's a condition out here and you're just fighting it like with all your might. You're doing everything to change that condition and change that condition. You work on it, and you change that condition, and you go, I change that condition. And then 6 months later, a year later, you start to experience something very similar again. It starts to shift. Suddenly I'm not running into people who are always wanting to argue with me anymore. What is the cause that you're setting in motion right now? I want to give one more example. It's very recent. This is just in the past few months. I was in which is kind of a miracle in itself. This is a whole different story, but I'm not even going to go into that one, because I was singing in a musical. That, if you know anything about me, that's a miracle. I've never sung in anything, right? And suddenly, I started speaking forth that I'm willing to claim that I could sing. And like in no time, I get invited to be in a musical. I'm like, when you're practicing this teaching and you're saying yes to things, for me at least, I start to know better than to say no when the thing I've been saying yes to shows up. Mm-hmm. So there was a part of me that was like, no, I don't want to be in a musical. I'm not a singer. And it was like, no, what have you been saying yes to? So I sung in this musical. Singing in this musical, one of my friends who got me into this, got me into that mess, who was my angel, who provided this opportunity for me. She had a friend while we were rehearsing that went into the hospital, and so we started praying for him, and then the next thing you know, he went into a coma, and so now we're really praying for him, and then the next thing that happened is the doctor said, say goodbye to your friend. It wasn't like possibly, it was like, say goodbye to your friend. Like your friend is not coming back, and even if he does, he will be a vegetable. Like there is no, we've measured, used all of our instruments, whatever, no brain activity. He's effectively, he's a vegetable. So even if he did come out of the coma, like he's not your friend anymore. Like he's a vegetable. So I remember just very lightly saying to her when she said that to me, the doctors, it was very light. I just said, the doctors don't know everything. And she said, oh yeah, he's in a coma, he's going to be a vegetable, blah, 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 we're saying goodbye. And I said, okay, that's maybe possible, but all I want to say is the doctors don't know everything. And that's all I said. And even at the time, I didn't really think much of it. It was just a very matter-of-fact thought. Well then, I don't know how much time passed, maybe a couple of weeks, and she came back and she said, Robert has come out of the coma. And it's like, okay, great. And then it's like, well, now Robert's starting to say some things. He's starting to speak some words. But the doctors aren't sure if it's just sort of like, I don't know, like some reaction in the brain that's not really conscious or something like that. And then Robert started to like fully interact with them. Like this is, for me, like a very clear demonstration that conditions aren't real. Because here was a condition that was speaking very loudly. Like I said, the doctors did not say, like, this is what we're thinking. They were like, this is it. So on Thanksgiving night, I was at a dance party and somehow started talking to this man. And this man was Robert. I had never met him. I had just been praying for him. I had never met him. And here's Robert. He's got crutches. He's not moving a lot, but he's engaging with me in conversation. And I'm saying, I was praying for you when you were in a coma. I was praying for you. And he said, well, thank you. And then last weekend, I was at another event, and I only met Robert once, so I didn't even realize this was Robert, but he's at this dance party now, without the crutches, dancing, and he made a few comments to me, and I'm very fortunate at the end that he when I said, oh, what's your name? And he said, Robert. I'm like, oh, yes, you're that Robert. But this is how powerful this science of mind teaching is, and this turning away from conditions and focusing on causes. Okay, usually for me, there's like a pregnant pause because something really great is coming, but the pregnant pause this time was like, I didn't plan for any particular ending.
Well, there you go. You got it.
So let's turn with it for prayer. That's the cue right there. Go to prayer. So I'm going to invite you as we turn with it for prayer to bring back to mind that particular new cause that you are choosing to set in motion. And let's join together right now in setting that new cause in motion for your life. Let's first recognize that God is all there is, that there is one infinite power and presence that is power for good, that one presence is a presence of wholeness, of perfection, that is a presence of love, of harmony, of peace, and that one is the very life and being that is my life, that there is just one life, there is one power, there is one presence, and that is the very life and being that is moving through and as me. And not only is that the truth about me, that is the truth about every one of us here, that each one of us is a divine expression of that one whole, perfect, complete life that is God, that is divine, whole, perfect, and complete. And not only is this the truth about each one of us here, this is the truth about each one that concerns us here. That each one of our loved ones are divine expressions of that one, whole, perfect, and complete. The fullness of divinity, right where they are, right as they are. And so it is in this consciousness of my oneness with and as the infinite, and of all of our oneness with and as the infinite, that I speak this word right now, setting a new cause in motion. And I join with each one here in what each one is saying yes to, and the answer right back is yes. For there is an immutable law that only knows to say yes. It receives the impress of our thought, of our affirmation, of our alignment, and begins to create right from there. And so I know right now that that new cause is set in motion, and it is already done in the mind of God. That which we have said yes to, that which we are claiming for ourselves, is already done in the mind of God. The answer is yes, and today is a new day. This is a new moment. And so I am just so grateful for this awareness, for this truth, and for all the good that is coming forth right now by us touching and agreeing and setting a new cause in motion. In gratitude, I release this word, these words, that immutable law, knowing that the answer is yes, knowing that they're accepted and acted upon, and so I just let it be. I know that all is well, and I invite each one to join with me in accepting and grounding this new cause, this new set of causes in motion. Please join me in grounding and accepting this with the words, and so it is. Amen.